I'm Salavalo, and I have been to every single country in the world. This includes all of the famous ones that millions of tourists go to every single year, like France and Italy, Canada, Brazil, South Africa, Kenya, India, Japan, Australia, all of them. But it also includes all of the countries that you've maybe never heard of, and all of the countries that you've been taught to be afraid of, that have secretive societies, that don't give access to foreigners, that are off limits. I've been to all of them. So today, I am here and I'm going to tell you about my experience inside the 5 most secretive countries in the world. So here we go. Last but not least, it's clearly the sun has set as I've been talking to you guys. North Korea, often considered the absolute most secretive country in the world. Why is it secretive? It has its own Juche philosophy of politics, an ideology of leadership that is kind of about self-preservation and about like determination of the country, like without the influence on outsiders. However, that's not really like possible, which has led to like severe like economic problems. And though these kind of political ideologies often sound really great and that they're inclusive of the masses, in practice they tend very much not to be, which is definitely the case with North Korea, where you have a really high amount of the people living in an incredibly low level of income, and especially the 1994 famine. The problem there was it took too long for them to admit that they needed outside help, and so you had hundreds of thousands of people dying of starvation, of malnutrition, and that still has an effect on the society today, because you have people that are way shorter than they should be, and like with problems that they should not have. North Korea also has like grand ambitions, which is really about it feeling threatened. So the idea of like nuclear arms is just to be a deterrent to the outside influence of others, essentially believing that if they have nuclear capabilities, and nobody will be able to come in and change them because the risk is too high. However, the level of secrecy of North Korea is often way overestimated. People think that everyone that you'll see when you're going in North Korea are actors. They'll think that like you're constantly being spied on. They'll think that like it's very strict what you see and what you don't see. And that's kind of true a little bit. And I kind of thought that going in. Like I was a little bit afraid because I thought that maybe I wouldn't be able to like be myself, that I would be like feel like I'm being watched, and that the people that I would be meeting would maybe be like alien in a way. And very quickly I was shown that that wasn't true. In terms of like them knowing constantly where you are at all moments, like I went on this like road trip of like 3 or 4 hours outside of Pyongyang, and our car got lost. We were pulling over and asking farmers where to go, and it was just very clear that this was not planned. There's also cases where like when I was back in Pyongyang on a group tour, like we were able to ask kind of last minute, hey, can we go to the amusement park? And they were like last minute able to make that happen. We said we wanted to go on a walk like through the city, and they were able to make that happen. I mean, you're obviously always still with the guides, but there's a little bit of like flexibility around it. It's not so rigid as you might think. However, it's very much not free. When I was in North Korea, I met this Italian architect who had taken years to make this plan of like 10 or 12 specific architectural things that she wanted to see in North Korea, and had gotten approval to see those. And yet when she arrived, they said, actually, we can only show you 3 or 4 of them. No explanation given why she couldn't see all of them. There are frustrations like that, and there's very much like a regime of like, this is what you can see and this is what you can't see. But that kind of happens in every country. North Korea is just like the most extreme case. People also think that like you're not going to meet any local North Koreans, or when you do, they're like, oh my God, like what was that like? But anybody that you're going to meet as a tourist in North Korea is going to be incredibly elite. They're going to be the elite of the elite to not only live in Pyongyang, which is where the majority of tourists will be, but to be in a scenario where they're able to interact with foreigners, and being trusted to do that and like not being afraid to do so. Just means that they're very elite. So you're seeing a very specific part of the population. Again, true of most times that you're traveling in any country. I was able to see local North Koreans on 3 main occasions. One was the guides that I was with. I did a private tour, so I was alone, just me and 2 guides for a couple days. And I always asked like a billion questions. And so we became pretty close, and like they shared a lot with me and I shared a lot with them. And obviously it's their job, and there's like secrets and there's things that they are like told to explain in specific ways, and I'm aware of that. And so I wasn't gullible to it, but we're all pretending in some ways and we're all acting in some ways, and maybe it's actually a little bit more transparent in the things that they are acting about, whereas the stuff that maybe we're acting about each day is like a secret just to ourselves, right? The second case was I went to the Pyongyang Beer Festival, and we were allowed to just kind of stay there and go roam as we wanted, and I sat at a table with like quite a few like North Koreans, and one of them was able to like translate for us, and we ended up being there for about an hour and kind of just like getting to know them. And that was pretty exciting. And the third was in the library. They took us to like this foreign language center, and they were teaching German in one classroom, and they asked if anybody could speak German, and I can. And so I went into the classroom and I spoke with like a group of students in German for like 10 minutes. So that was kind of cool. Now Americans aren't allowed to go to North Korea, haven't been back. It's a rule that was passed by the American government, not the North Korean one. And so it's definitely secretive for Americans now. I'm sure there's a way to get in as an American. Like a lot of countries say that, this nationality or that nationality is not allowed to go, but there's always a way. But yeah, I would love to go back. We'll see. I do have a much longer video. I have like a 18-minute video just about North Korea, all of my stories from there. So check that one out if you're interested in hearing more about the world's most secretive country. I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you learned something new about these 5 countries, that you see them in a little bit of a new light. If you like this video, I have so many more. I even have some much longer ones about some of the countries that I've discussed. So check them out, subscribe, comment. I respond to all the comments. Follow me on Instagram or on Facebook. And I hope that I'll see you again and that you will travel safe.